Look, I do have an Instagram account. I just never posted it on it. If you wanna, the link is in the description below. Go and follow me. Maybe I probably would have posted something by now. Most likely not. I guess maybe I don't know. Just anyways, if you want to follow me, support me, go to the description and follow me on Instagram. I do have it. Without further ado, grab a blanket, turn off your lights. For these true scary Instagram horror stories, that's why I don't use it, guys. Not even safe on Instagram. I have a few creepy stories I've experienced, but here's another one. So 2 summers ago, I was 16 years old and went to the shore with my family. Me and my sister, who were 15, would go walking on the boardwalk every night since it was cool. We would just mess around, play games, and do rides and stuff like that. We would also dress cute and take pictures for Instagram. Yes, I know I was basic. So one night, me and my sister finished getting ready and each posted a selfie on Instagram. I was never one to get a shit ton of likes or comments, but I usually got a steady 30 likes, nothing special. But this night, I got a comment on my photo from a stranger. Keep in mind, I don't have a privated Instagram, and it was from some guy my age who commented, "Gorgeous." Me, being dumb, politely said thank you and left it at that. Then he said, "Kick?" Which made me roll my eyes, so I didn't respond. But this is where it gets creepy. His next comment was, "I'm at the same shore as you, we should meet up." He even put the name of the shore I was in. I was super creeped out because I never said I was on the shore on Instagram. Then I replied and said, "No thanks," and he wrote back, "Please?" I started getting scared, so my sister commented and told him to leave me alone, and then the comment stopped. So, we get to the boardwalk and I pretty much forgot about the creepy incident at that point. So we got some ice cream and started walking, and from the corner of my eye, I saw a guy leaning against the wall and staring at me. Me and my sister sat at the bench to eat our ice cream, and once I got a better look at him, I realized it was the guy from Instagram staring dead at me. I froze and grabbed my sister's arm. He just kept watching me and my sister. We ran back to our place that we were staying, which wasn't smart because he could have followed us, but we got scared. After that, I think I got a few more comments calling me pretty, but then it stopped, thankfully. So, creepy boardwalk guy, let's never meet again. I fantasize about your bones. I'll preface this encounter with the fact that I am a recovering anorexic. This serves as a key piece of information, as well as a trigger warning. If you're suffering from an eating disorder, this may not be the best article for you to read. Last year, I started to Keep, a messaging app. A guy who I later realized never gave me a name. After some searching months after the encounter, I learned his name was Josh. Anyways, Josh was polite, supportive, and always seemed to know what to say. He appealed to my anorexia. When we first started talking, he seemed curious and very infatuated. This was a very low point for myself, and I adore the positive attention. I desperately needed someone to tell me I was beautiful and I was thin. He knew of my disorder and struggled with self-injury and schizophrenia, among many other things. Weeks passed, and he became quite explosive at times. When he wasn't in an episode, he was telling me he loved me, that he'd die without me, that I was beautiful and my bones were perfect, that he loved my thinness. I was severely underweight at this time in my life. Looking back, I laugh at how dumb I was. I even sent photos of myself, nothing dirty or gross or anything, just selfies and photos of my thigh gap and ribs and whatnot. He started telling me he wanted to come to see me. He was many years older than myself. He told me he fantasized about my bones. I began to get more and more weirded out. I told him maybe we should stop talking. He exploded. He left comments on my Instagram, kicked me multiple times. I blocked him from the kick the moment he said he'd have me, no matter what it took, even if he had to tie me up and take me. It got more and more graphic as these messages were long, meeting character count multiple times. I blocked him right away but neglected to do so from my Instagram. He kept leaving messages, comments and such, but I didn't see them at these times. He ended up messaging my best friend, whom he found through my Instagram profile. He asked her many things about me, like my phone number, my whereabouts and such. She called me right away asking about Josh. I told her to block him right away. I ended up deleting my Instagram and Kik and creating new ones, just to rid myself of any ties Josh had to me, my friends, and the multiple accounts he used, second emails, his friends' accounts, etc., else to contact me. To this day, thinking about our conversations chills me. For some reason, I can't shake the things he said or the feeling that he'd still be keeping an eye on me somehow. I know he fueled my eating disorder to an all-time low, and I was an easy target because I desperately wanted validation that I was sick or thin enough. Moral of the story: some people are twisted enough to play on things like anorexia to assert their dominance. Messages from a stranger. Yesterday, I had a very terrifying experience with my associate of a used-to-be friend. My mother was in Atlantic City and my father and brother were at a hockey game. This left me at home alone with my dog. Everything was pretty normal until about 6 p.m. or 6:30. At that point, I received the first message. This guy messaged me on Instagram claiming I had insulted him. I tried to explain that I had no idea who he even was, and then I got the message, "I'm gonna find you." That kinda creeped me out, but I thought he was bluffing. I said, "Sure you are." I then got another message saying to look outside my door for the next hour. So, just to debunk the fact that he was actually coming, I asked him, "Fine, what's my address then?" He then gave me my address and described my house and backyard perfectly. I dropped my phone and ran to my neighbor's house. I stayed there until my dad and brother arrived home. I went inside and checked my phone frantically, trying to explain this to my father. Then, the most horrifying part. At 7:03, I received a message which simply said, "The home of my name," with an image of this guy outside my fucking house. You proceeded to call the cops. I told them everything, and obviously there was nothing they could really do. Now, this guy looked about 14 or 15, so it wasn't too threatening, although I am only 13 myself. Until I realized he was wearing a backpack in the pic. I'm glad I did not stick out to find out what was in it. Let's not meet. Josie, ongoing saga. I am using a new account because my old account is linked to work business on Reddit, and I don't want anyone to work out who I could possibly be. I run social media accounts for a small company. I've been with my current boyfriend for approximately 2 years at this point, and we are really happy. We have plans to get engaged and have a family. However, he has an ex-girlfriend who lives in the UK, as he travels frequently to Europe for business. At one point, he was living there for a period of time and met this woman. They broke up maybe 3 months before we met. At this point, my partner was back in our city to stay for at least that year, and we met and got involved pretty quickly. We've always got along really well. We rarely disagree enough to fight, and we are basically best friends. About 8 months into our relationship, we went on holiday, and it was at this time I had my first contact by Josie. I knew a little bit about Josie from what my boyfriend had told me, but I never really felt like it was my business, so I never pressed him for too much information. On one occasion, I had been exposed to her brand of crazy when she somehow found my Instagram and started sending him pictures of me from my Instagram, calling me a whore and a slut, etc. But I just told him to block her phone number, and that was it. On our second day, on our first holiday together, supposed to be a romantic holiday, I opened up my blog account to check my notifications and post a photo or two, and I saw that I had a message from an unknown person. I have deleted that message, but it was over a year and a half ago, so I can't give any specifics of what it said, but the general gist was that she was with my boyfriend at his last trip overseas, and then she stayed with him. She offered specifics about our bedroom and things we have in it, and stressed that I was merely receiving them as a result of her leaving him. Sloppy seconds, if you will. That he was with us both, that I was just convenience, etc. She still lived overseas at this point. Fast forward a few months. After maintaining relatively silence despite stalking all of my social media accounts and entering her own relationship, she would occasionally send me anonymous threats on Tumblr or make comments on my Instagram. She began adding all of our friends on Facebook. It first began with his friends, then our mutual friends, and finally my friends. She actually became really close to my childhood best friend, who was nice to everyone and very benevolent, without my friend knowing who she was, so that she could keep up to date with our daily activities. My boyfriend and I aren't very active on our Facebook accounts. We keep in touch with our friends in person and only really use it for social events, so we did not notice what she was doing until she started spreading rumors about us through our friends. She would tell my friends that my boyfriend is a rapist, that he raped her, that he was sick because he liked to have sex with children. After we spoke to our friends, they removed her from their friends list, and she went quiet again until this last week. Both my boyfriend and I received messages on our blogs from her. My boyfriend is planning another 7 or 8 weeks overseas, and she took this opportunity to begin the harassment again. This time, I kept the screenshots of the things she sent, happy to verify by sharing them, but would rather not do it publicly. You're really naive. I did not send the last message, or in fact, anything negative ever, as I am not that type of person. Is it just that you're living a lie? He was fucking me from date, whatever, until date, whatever. We were even engaged. He told you were gonna get married. I'm not trying to be cruel or even wanted to contact you. I'm not trying to hurt you. I don't know you. I want you to be happy. I want him to take responsibility for what he did to me. For the record, she was abusive and batshit. She was incredibly delusional. It's been 2 years. I've ignored her every single time. I don't respond to her or even acknowledge that she exists. There's nothing I can do because we live in different countries. So Josie, let's not meet. Never leave your social media profiles unattended. This is a quick story about a stalking experience that just happened yesterday. There hasn't been a resolve yet, and although I was not the primary target, a group of my friends, including myself, were still involved. It was certainly terrifying and a huge step in the face from reality to always make sure you are aware of your social media following and privacy. We have an iMessage group chat going of about 7 friends and myself. One of the friends, Kay, is kind of the annoying little sister type and gets on all of our nerves, but we tolerate her. Kay sends us a screenshot of a conversation with her younger cousin, who is either a senior in high school or a freshman in college. He tells her that he is on Tumblr and that a photo of Kay showed up on his feed. He proceeded to reblog and show her. Kay is confused because the photo is a random selfie from her Instagram, which she rarely uses and is set to private. In addition, neither she nor any of the people in the group chat even use Tumblr. She asked her cousin for a link to the site. Upon skimming the website, we find, to our horror, that the Tumblr is brimming with photographs of all 5 girls in the group chat, individual posts with personalized captions of photos taken from our respective Instagrams, most of which were private. The further back we viewed the page, the creepier it got, because it seemed like the page was targeting one girl in particular, Q. 90% of the photos the individual posted were just of Q, mostly taken from her Instagram. There were love poems dedicated to her, sentimental captions accompanying some photos such as Q and her loving parents, and even some photos that were obtained from her Facebook account, despite all settings being private. The owner of the Tumblr seems to be an adult male from a country different to where we live, who occasionally posted things that were more personal to him, such as a photo of an ice skating rink in his childhood neighborhood, or a YouTube link to homemade footage like 8 years ago that he helped produce. The owner of the account doesn't seem to be the same person as the owner of the Tumblr. Through my own investigation, the person does seem to be real, though the primary purpose of that site looked like a shrine of sorts dedicated to Q. There were in fact other posts, such as lyrics to random old songs by obscure artists, which hinted at the owner's age. There were photos pulled from my own Instagram, such as a zoomed in and cropped pic of my face taken from a group shot. The most horrifying part was one of the older photos that he posted. This photo was not just one of Q's pulled from her social media. It was a photograph of 2 real frame photos in the person's home of Q. The caption of that photo indicated that the stalker had been dedicated to her since 2012. 2012! We just came across this Tumblr in 2017. Needless to say, we were all thoroughly stunned and frightened. We have no idea what to do. Q proceeded to send an angry message to the owner via some link on their page, and just like that, the page was deleted. We have no more leads. Although I have been doing my own research on trying to find out the identity of the person, I'm not sure what we can do from here, seeing how we have no longer any evidence except for screenshots of the site that we took, as well as a way back archived link to the site. Any advice would be appreciated. Quick update. Hey guys, just wanted to clarify a few things. Still don't know the real identity of this person and probably won't update again unless I do. The frame photos I mentioned were not taken directly from Q's house. They were taken from her social media, printed separately and framed. 2 separate photos lying side by side on a bedsheet or something that was displayed on the Tumblr. That is what really got to us. The whole time we were scrolling it was definitely creepy and weird, but didn't seem like a huge threat until we saw that. After we were given the link to the site, we were checking it out and screenshotting, but we didn't get to view the entire thing. Q had sent the owner of the Tumblr an angry message as soon as we found the site, and it was promptly taken down, so there was a lot of other materials on there that we didn't see before the site was deleted. I don't want to think if there was anything worse than the frame photos. I took a ton of screenshots as I went before the site got deleted, based on the very minimal information I had of the person. Example, like their last name, occupation. For some reason it was listed. City and minor details that they had posted in non-Q's photos. I narrowed it down to a suspect. This is purely unlimited details I had seen and researched the shit out of. But it was the only person that matched. However, the suspect I'm pinning it on makes absolutely no sense in regards to the fact that he is no one we know. He has no relation to us and is from a different country. He's basically a middle-aged white dude in X country, and if it is him, stumbled upon Q and our friend group by chance. I always figure that in a stalking scenario, the person is always somehow connected to you, an ex, an old friend, an enemy, person you see on your commute, etc. But this guy has us befuddled. Obviously, I could be wrong, but he matches my clues, and I am relatively decent at internet sleuthing, which is why I pinpointed him. Anyways, I really appreciate everyone's advice and insights on how to go about this. Thank you.